Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well and just loving 2021. And certainly miss you guys a lot and looking forward to whenever we can get back together again. And it looks like as of today, at least whenever this video goes out, that the church is opening back up small group, and that's exciting. And just one step closer to us being able to get back together again, which I know is going to be super weird, but at the same time, it's going to be just fabulous. And so anyways, I think about you guys a lot, and I pray for y'all. I may not let you know that I'm doing that, but I certainly do. And hope you guys are well. And please let me know if there's anything that I can do. So let's talk about the passage today. And this is going to be a fun one because this is one that we actually did a little over a year ago. And this is from James. It's chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. And we actually went through this in December 2019. I can't believe it. It really feels like yesterday whenever we went through James as a class and had a lot of fun going through that. I think I remember Brian's quizzes at the beginning and the end and how the guys won. And yeah, we did win that quiz. Totally unbiased. We just knew what we were doing. Ladies, sorry. And how that seemed like yesterday, and we're already over a year out. And so anyways, dovetailing here, or just going on a tangent. The question to think about, at least one question, is there a such thing as a genuine faith? Is there such thing as an incomplete faith? And is there, if so, then what's the difference between the two, an incomplete versus a genuine faith? And then I'll spin a question at the end to kind of challenge us. So funny thing, literally tonight, right before I looked at what passage was up for this week, we were reading, me and the kids were reading from this book. I don't know if anybody has this book. It's called Thoughts to Make Your Heart Sing. And it's a fabulous book because it comes from the same author that wrote the Jesus Storybook Bible. And I know everybody in this class should know about that book. It's the one that Buddy gives preschoolers. And it's just one, like, not only did my kids learn a lot, but I certainly learned a lot. And I just remember my first impression of that one was every story pointed to Jesus and how the author put those stories together. Not how the author took the application of those stories and pointed it to Jesus. And, you know, Buddy says all the time that the whole Bible points to Jesus, and we see that. We see that every page that we open up and we read. Anyways, off that. But the story tonight was called Radar in Fog. Radar in Fog. And if you can see that plane, and there's the pilot, and this is a bird's eye view of a plane, kind of like an older plane, it looks like. Pilot sitting there with the green radar towards the middle, somewhat bottom center of the page. And then, of course, at the top, there's this massive fog that he's about to fly into. And so if you think about this, the difference in, say you have two pilots, and both pilots, they know what a radar does. They know exactly what it's for. They tell them where they are, things that are around them, and even things that are off in the distance, and even if they can't see it. And so both pilots can acknowledge that, like what a radar is. And it's definitely more than that. It probably lets people know of like enemies that are around and any type of missiles that may be shot at their plane, they're coming their direction. I mean, it could be anything. And so anyways, we have two pilots that acknowledge that. However, whenever both are asked to go on a mission, and say that mission to get to the destination has to go through this like just massive storm, like just one that like is just, there's no way around it, massive tornadoes in it. I mean, the storm of storms or whatever. And, or think of this like tremendously thick fog that these pilots have to go through, and one says, nope, not going to do that, and the other says, sure. Like, there is a difference there, and that's exactly what James is pointing out here in this passage in the second chapter. And he starts off, he says, what good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds? I mean, automatically we see right there the beginning of his argument here, a faith, and the faith that he's talking about here is an intellectual assent, at least in this one. And this is the incomplete faith that he's starting to break down. And he gives a great example of, say, a brother or sister's cold or they're hungry, and yet you just say, well, hope you stay warm, hope you find some food, hope all is well with you, and that person moves on. Like there was no action there. It was more of just a wishing that person well, versus later on he says, show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do. You believe there's a God, even the demons believe in that. And so he's further driving home the point that mere intellectual assent, in other words, just acknowledging that there's a God, is not enough. At the same time, though, you can look at this passage and the faith without works is dead. Somebody can look at that, and I know I've been guilty of this before, and say, well, wow, it sounds like that I won't have any salvation unless I'm doing things, unless I'm engaging in works. And that's not what he's pointing out here. And we see the potential contradiction here between what Paul says in Romans chapter 3, I think it's verse 28, where he says, man is justified by faith apart from observing the law. So we see like a apparent contradiction. On one hand, Paul is saying faith is what leads to salvation, and on the other hand, it appears that James is saying that works lead to salvation. And that is not at all what they're saying. What Paul is saying essentially is that faith comes from, justification or salvation comes from faith in the Lord. It's not by what you do. James is saying mere intellectual assent is not genuine faith, but works show evidence of that faith. And so anyways, there is definitely reconciliation with those two. But anyways, all that to say is, and he continues on and he gives examples through Abraham and what he did with nearly sacrificing his son Isaac and all that he went through in following the Lord. And then we see Rahab and what she did because she believed in God's promises for Israel and the works that came out of her faith in the Lord through that story as well. Wonderful story, both of them. And all that kind of, we come back to circle with us. And what do we take away with this? Well, I think a good challenging question for us is that we say, look back over the past week, and were we more of a listener or a doer of the word? And of course, we know in the Bible, be not only hearers, but doers. We have that challenge. I wish I remembered the verse. Don't off the top of my head. Maybe it's in James. I can't remember. Anyways, what a great question, and just a self-check of where we are with our relationship with the Lord, and is our faith genuine and being manifested through works that are producing good fruit and helping spread God's kingdom and being his hands and feet, ambassadors for Christ? Or are we just sitting here mostly listening and being super passive? And we definitely see here that love is an action. I mean, that's what Christ did on the cross, right? Straight up action. That's what he did with his life. Action, 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 action. And so, anyways, what a great challenge. It certainly is a slap in my face a lot, and definitely convicts me of a lot of times that I'm super passive with my faith. And so, anyways, I encourage you with this, and look back for, say, this past week, just as a starting point, and offer your concerns and thoughts and prayers to the Lord, and go to him and talk to him and ask him to reveal those areas that we may be struggling in, that we're not showing the fruit of being a redeemed child of the Lord, and asking the Lord to help us to be able to show others through our actions that our faith is genuine and real, and then that those people who may not believe in the Lord will want to, or other believers can be edified and encouraged whenever they're in kind of a slump in their walk with the Lord as well. So anyways, hopefully this is encouraging, and it certainly is encouraging to me. I challenge you guys, James 2:14 through 26. Yeah, we went over this just over a year ago. Cannot believe it. But anyways, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot them my way. Please, would love to know what you're thinking. And even if it's not related to this, please reach out to me. Hope you guys are doing super well, and look forward again to when we can get together and gather as a group to praise and worship the Lord and to catch up with each other. Looking forward to that time. You guys take care. Bye.